Anyway, my name is Steve Jones. I'm currently serving as chairman of the advisory committee for the Central Pine Barrens, and I work for Suffolk County Water Authority. So I just want to run through quickly where we are with our agreement with Migliarino, San Rossore, Massaciuccoli Park. That's the last time I'm going to try to say that because it's a real mouthful. We'll just refer to it, if we have to, as MSRM. So just to get started, the park is right outside of Pisa. If you think of Italy as a boot, it's the laces. It's roughly where the laces of the boot would be. So Pisa is right here, and the park kind of runs this whole area. It's mostly flat land, and woodland, wetlands, and dunes in some areas along in here, and also a lot of farmland as well. The first agreement, you can see the logos for both the Central Pine Barrens and the regional park in Italy are all about trees, and this is a little water thing over here, so it's all about the trees and the drinking water. There's the trees over there and some of ours over here. So we have this first agreement that we created between the parties, and we identify some commonalities, and so I'll run through this quick. The commonalities include high amount of urbanization. Here we are at Sunrise Highway and County Route 51. There's some intense development going on in here, and some additional development that they're trying to shoehorn into some areas over in here. Here we are in Pisa. Here's the Leaning Tower and the Basilica right here. Here's the entrance to their park. This is a very intense development that's going on right now, because if you see it on the ground, you can literally see from the upper floors here. This is all glass. You can see from the upper floors directly over to the Leaning Tower. It's a nice site, and some developer figured, hey, that would be a great place to develop. This is a farm agricultural area that has a scenic easement over it, very much like what we do here in this country in terms of the way we preserve agricultural land. Intensive cultivation occurring. Here it is over here. You can see the mountains are really actually off to the east farther. Most of the park is flat land. Intense development. Here's some intense development at the north end of Lake Massaciuccoli that occurred back in the 1920s. This is a peat bog area that they dug out. Puccini decided he wanted to live right over here on the shores of the lake. And then he came up against a power plant. So those of us who remember the Shoreham and Broadwater and a few other situations, Puccini had his hands full. The trouble is, I don't think he had a good PR person because he failed in his effort to close this peat-fired power plant that was spewing. I'm sure it was an environmental disaster. So he moved over to Via Reggio for a couple of years and ended up having throat cancer from smoking too many cigars anyway. But that you'll see a picture right from where he lived here over across the lake, and it is a beautiful sight to see. We have tourist pressures over there. They have very grand stables for horses right in the park. Our stables aren't quite so fancy over here in the Pine Barrens. Tourism, I'm not comparing here. I'll just say that there are plenty of beach umbrellas to duck under here in Via Reggio, a very intense area at the north end of the park over there. Cultural resources, again, we're kind of talking apples and oranges here between Roman ruins that go back a very long time compared to an abandoned sluiceway for a cranberry bog out here at Robert Cushman Murphy Park. But it still brings together the same issues of how do we preserve our cultural resources. Here's Marconi's lab over there outside of Pisa, and here's a portion of one of his buildings that he used in Rocky Point. He was also based in Babylon, so we have a shared history there with Marconi. There are a number of things we agreed to in this first agreement from October of '04. Here's a letter from Pete Granis, who's currently serving as Commissioner of DEC for New York State. So we have support for this Twinnings agreement from the state government on down. Here I am with the Chief Park Ranger, Ricardo Gambogi. How's that sound? So here we are getting ready to go out and see the park. Oops, wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. We have linked up websites. This is what ours looks like under in the Pine Barrens. You can check. You can click in here and you can see this agreement and you can see the other agreement. You can learn more about the park that way. We have a research and information exchange. Here's Tim Green right here making a research presentation over there in the park. I think maybe 2004. I'm not sure of the exact date. One of our prominent scientists here on Long Island, I won't name him, suggests that we deal with some of these animal pests that we share in our parks by putting them on the menu. So that's for you. I don't want to horrify you Bambi lovers out there, so we'll move on anyway. We have temporary, we could create and hope to create some temporary exhibitions. Again, here's a 900-year-old well and here's a nine-year-old well. Not exactly apples to apples, but certainly we can talk about the importance of drinking water, the importance and strategic importance of water, both over there in Tuscany and also over here in the Pine Barrens. We have an exchange of personnel, obviously. Here's Kim Darrow from 2004. Kim's with us today. We're happy to see him today. Here he is with a couple of park employees going through the pine forest area. And then having workshops on some of the common interests. Here's Ray from 2000 asking the park employees whether this walkway could handle an ATV or not. I don't know what the answer was, but I guess it probably was no. So we've learned a lot, of those of us who've gone over there and seen what they're doing over there with construction work in the park. We have some action items in this first agreement. First one, education and training programs. We'll get into that more, of course, tomorrow, but here's the staff over there with Ivan Suarez earlier on this year doing some planning work. Joint events, they have a park festival usually toward the end of May every year. We have our Pine Barrens Research Forum in October, and we're happy to have with us today Carlo Galletti and Elisabetta Norci who come on after me and talk about some of the things that they're doing over there. And we have we want to designate a cooperation committee made up of 4 people from here in the United States and 4 people from Italy. Hopefully we can herd them all together and get them to agree on some matters. The second agreement, which I was there to sign on behalf of 2 of the parties, the Longwood High School and the Central Pine Barrens Commission, include the Liceo Scientifico and the park. As I said, I won't be saying the name because it's too much of a tongue twister for me. Here are the parties to the agreement. Here we are signing the agreement at the Park Festival in May. The mission of this agreement is really to build on the first Twinnings agreement and get into the whole environmental education aspect, because we both feel strongly on both sides of the Atlantic that it's fundamental and essential to engage school children to learn more about park protection. So this is really a very important mission for us. We do it here. We have been doing it here. This is Donna Mancuso, the Suffolk County Water Authority program, teaching the 4th graders about the aquifers and how the water moves through the aquifers and such. Melissa Griffiths has been doing some great work both with developing summertime programs, Barrens to Bay it's called, and also developing year-round programs on behalf of the Pine Barrens Commission. So we're able to get out there and reach upwards of between 10 and 15,000 school kids every year and teach them more about the importance of these areas. So we want to develop these educational components. Here's Melissa with the staff doing some planning work from earlier in the year. We want to engage the students and the teachers. Here's Leah, help me out, Marinelli, talking to the kids over in Pisa. Delivery systems, I just put this up there. Here's a couple of delivery systems. We're working on one in the perhaps in Quogue Wildlife refuge areas to be able to use for outdoor education. So we have a number of action items. The first one is video conference development, and what can I say? That's all done. We're ready to go tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, there'll be a live video conference between the students in Italy and the students here from Longwood High School, held right here at the lab, I believe, tomorrow morning. So we'll just cross our fingers and hope that the software works and everything else works well. Biodiversity and seasonal monitoring are important components where where the kids on both sides can use the same protocols and techniques so that they can compare their findings well. So here's Ivan with some of the students over there in Italy. We have park kiosks that they've developed over there, we've developed, and we want to see if we can start to exchange some of these, or certainly exchange some information on how we're putting this stuff out there visually and graphically to people. Working with the cooperation committee again is not always around a table where we're eating, but sometimes that certainly is one way to go. Here's Henry, Jan, Naidu, and Kim here from a few years back over there in Italy. So we want to also have refresher courses for teachers and thinking about refreshing views. There's the view that Puccini had there of Lake Massaciuccoli, and certainly it's back to the way it used to look before the power plant was there, I guess. So we're certainly happy to have this agreement in place. It's going to last for 5 years, so we can start to develop some of these programs, and we're heading on down the road starting tomorrow in the hopes of getting a really nice program going with the students both at Longwood High School and over there in Pisa, and develop further. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our friends from Italy and ask for Tim's help in setting up the rest of this part of the program for you. Thanks very much.